what's the one thing that gets in your way? You have to ask yourself this. Think about it. Your ego. Your ego is everything. It separates you from your dichotomy system. Now, truly understanding what the ego is understanding why I'm not moving forward, because the ego has many ways and forms, okay? Because it structures on so many levels when it comes to your thought recognition system. Now, my team is in that connection system. Anybody wants to understand what's going on, first I'd like to get off with indications of subscribing, liking, and sharing. Please feel informed that we're grand rising. Everything Think Connection is coming into force rising. It's very important to understand this. You can comment below. You can go through my healing. You can call me the vaccine, whatever you want. It's very important that people understand exactly what's going on with their selves. So, and this also has to do with your ego, because you got to see yourself and how to understand that the ego can play with you, it can fool with you, and the ego goes in so many different ways, behavioral systems, through your thought recognitions, through your vibrations, anything through your colors of perceptions or anything of that division. You understand when you reach more of your chakra systems, it opens up more of the heart. Okay, because there's a lot of components in the heart, just like the body has components and compartments. So just think of the heart itself is a big, humongous, centralized diamond. And that diamond is understanding how to break it free to open up everything through its ego. Because the ego has to have its separation and then it has to come back into formation. All right? Or it's never going to allow itself to actually be what it wants to be, because the ego can be free. If you allow yourself, you're defeating the purpose of having an ego. The ego is the most important thing to have because it balances everything through light and dark. Because it can play with you. It can play trickery on you. It can be deceitfulness. It could lie to you. It can be manipulative. You have to understand what the ego is and what it does and what it represents. Okay? Everything in your body is extremely important. So we have each sections that we use, and we understand our pixel activation code systems and everything for that connection. But the ego is the most important, especially now when you guys are watching channels on YouTube and being informed of what you guys are doing through vibration. That magnesium magnetic forcing system is very important to understand what you are watching, okay? Now you have to understand there are higher force connections in the dark relation system. Like for example, there's the Dracos and the Drakians. The Dracos are different from the Drakians. The Dracos are dark. The Drakians are light and dark. So you have to understand communication when it comes to entity force systems. They separate their vision level system. So it's kind of like having an ego with no empathy. You know, it's kind of like I have no feeling. And if you have no feeling, then you're not human, right? So basically, that's how the dark has its representative. It kind of has that empathy, but it doesn't feel. It only knows dark. It only knows what it needs to do. And that's what light is, and that's what dark is. Dark has ego, light has ego. But light resembles on you of truth and freedom and love, okay? As dark is just manipulated, the deceitfulness and the corruption and, you know, anything through that formation. So it's really important to understand that you don't let the ego trick you on ways of seeing yourself in different forms. For example, when you get into structures of people, you have to understand that it's all connected through the connections, okay, of you, right? Because if you're trying to do scanning readings, okay, this is going through the digital frames. So let's just say you got a box connection, okay, like this. All right, so let's say you start off with a box like that. Now, I'm gonna lock it in some mechanism to show you exactly what it is. As you're coming into connection, let's see, I'll lock it in. It's important that you lock it in. It's a digital frame is very sensitive to its connection. So it's all about your structures. It's all about the ego of the mind system. Because one thing you have to understand, the ego is the brain. The mind is the open concept of space and time. That's where it's confusing for a lot of people. And I keep saying confusing because it's always connected through line signals. So you don't want to confuse yourself through that division. Because, if you do that, you're not allocating to positions, right? You really, really are not concentrating on those levels. So you don't want to put yourself in that position at all when it comes to the ego frame. Okay, so it's in relation, it's trying to really understand everything through connection. So when you go into those positions, you really, really want to get into those positions. Because it helps you in many ways and forms when it comes into the ego. Okay. I'm just doing a diagram system here to show you exactly what it is. So we start off like this. Okay. Now, in relation, the ego has so many connections of interference. It interfaces everything through your thought recognition. Now, try to understand that the ego of you is its separation through the brain and the mind. So the brain wave has to understand the ego system, and the mind system has to understand its open frequency. So the mind is the open frequency of space and time. The ego, okay, is basically setting the ego system. So it has its chronological system. But the ego can be deceitfulness, it could be trickery. Like I said, it finds in so many fools. So that's what I'm saying. You don't want to do that with your ego. Okay, don't let the ego fool you, because, like I'm saying, everybody has their representation of an ego. For example, when you're going on YouTube and you're seeing this person, but you're not sure if they're light and dark, but they're thinking of themselves. Well, they're in that constructive way saying that I have an ego and I don't care about anybody else. Okay, so there are people like that, and people are just, they're all commercialized. I'm just doing it for myself and I don't care about others. That's another ego. So your ego goes on so many levels of interference. Okay, so once we get into the platitude divisions of digital frame, your structure division opens up through connection. Right? So it has its separation like this. Okay? Now, understanding what that is, okay, that's your face structure. Now, we're going to do a separation and show you exactly what it is through formation. Okay? It's really fascinating stuff how you look at these things. So that's how it starts, right? Really powerful stuff, and when you look at something like that. So it's center core's division level system. Okay, you got the eyes here, you got the eyes here. This is where it is, the separation, right? Separation of the ego. See how it split divides, the face structure divisions, right? How it changes location. So it's all about centering your ego system. Okay? Center ego. Remember how you have to center everything, bring back into traction division? Center ego. Okay? That's what you want to do. All right? Okay, so you got a nose and you got a mouth. But I'm just showing you how powerful it is that you have to center your ego every single day, because if you don't, it kind of like you're not representing yourself through the physical system anymore. Your ego's taken over. Your ego can take over anything through vibration. And a lot of people don't understand that. They know they have an ego, but what am I representing through my ego? So the thing is, my behavioral system changes every single day through vibration. I'm thinking, okay, now I'm looking at that person. He's got an incredible ego. Now that's stereotypical, right? So, and you can see it. It's plain as see. You can actually see this person has a major ego, male or female, it doesn't matter. That's their representation. That's what they're putting out. So they're putting out the center of its ego, but they don't understand the relation of its ego. So basically, this is how you get the separation from face structure, from this to this to this. Okay? So the center core system of you is the structure division of digital format of you. But once you separate, okay, your face structure divisions, you're changing your ego systems through behaviorals. All right. So you're changing. Okay. You're changing. All right. If you change the ego, now you're coming into your dichotomy system. Okay. Because you don't want to separate that. You want its reference and how to balance everything through light and dark. Right. Because the light has an ego, like I said, and the dark has an ego. So you use the dark as its reference, but you don't use it as a connection. Okay. You use the light as a connection. The dark is its reference. The light is its connection. This is understanding more when you protect your lights. So when you're watching something through perception, okay, it's a magnetic force of energy. They don't have to see you in person. All they're doing is what they need to do through channeling. Everything through light worker is channeling, but you understand not everybody is light and dark. Everybody is dark, 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 dark. It all depends what they're doing. Everybody has a mission. So the more you understand that, the more you understand the structures of its face, like this, because it has its separation. It starts in the center. This is the center ego. This is where it's, see the smiley face? Okay. My ego is centered, right? But once it loses its center, it goes into separation. See the face structures, how it separates? And it starts changing the ego. Okay. So your ego can stay on the dark system. Okay. Or it could go on the light connection. So it's very important to understand how to understand the differentials of your behavioral systems of your ego. Okay. Like I said, it's very important. Don't let the ego fool you, especially when you're communicating to other channels. Okay. If you want to resonate with these channels, that's totally fine. But you have to understand their connection, what they're doing. What are they putting out? Is it the right information? Is it the wrong information? Or I'm not sure. If you're not sure, you come to me. So that's what I'm saying. Okay. Especially, it's all about reading the soul. Okay. So it's scanning the soul. Okay. Scanning the soul is everything. Okay. Scanning the soul of the ego. Okay. Scanning soul. Right. Now, once you scan the soul, you really are getting in a representation of where they are through their ego. And that's why it's extremely hard. It's very hard to reach people's souls. You have to be at the God frequency levels, and all your chakra systems have to be open. So this is a very, very powerful video because we play with our egos every single day through connection. And everything that we interforce connections with is interfacing with public or anything through that connection. Your family can have a problem and they're always getting their ego in the way. It says, well, what's up with your ego? Why are you being like this? Right? And then all of a sudden you're saying, okay, they're in this ego because of, you know what I mean? So they don't want you to be the reference. They want to be in the dark of its connection. So they want to stay in that ego. And all that does is just builds, and it changes everything through vibration. Okay. There's light interference and dark interference. Okay. Light connection, dark connection. Light ego, dark ego. It's getting light and dark in balance through the center of its ego. Okay. So you want to have your connection of a happy face and not this through separation, because you're changing your dichotomy system through its soul. So every day you're fighting with the spiritual war of yourself. Okay. You're in the spiritual war of yourself through vibration. Now, I'm trying to understand how powerful it is, because it has nothing to do with the dream sets. It has nothing to do with the ascension. It has nothing to do with the waking. It has to do with you and your ego. How you represent yourself every day through connection. If you're channeling, you have to make sure you're channeling the right information, because there's a lot of light workers that you think they're channeling the right information, but they're sending out the wrong information through dark interference. And you don't know that. but you think it's, oh, this is great. I've been resonating with this channel, and I'm picking up this and picking up this. So it's kind of like it's an addiction. And I say, okay, what's going to happen next? It's like reading a book. Okay, I can't wait to flip over the next page. And I'm saying, okay, great. But then you realize that nothing is changing. You're still in that system. So they're trapping you through the program system. And every time you resonate on that channel, they're taking your soul identification through your light connection. So it's really important to understand what light interference is and what dark interference is. There's higher connections of an entity force systems. So in relation, you have to have the center balance of its ego to understand anything through the reptilians, raptors, trogs, greys, or reptoids. Okay? Everybody is connected to something through its ego. Okay? Everybody has a job through its mission. Right? Now, there's a lot of connections. You have to understand there's we have interconnections of robots. There's mechanisms of servicing spiritual walkers. They're all connected through their ego. Okay? But you have to read their soul. And that's the hardest thing to do. So it's understanding when you read someone's soul, then you understand the ego. Either it's a happy face or it has its separation through its dichotomy system. Okay, so you can screenshot that. I'll show you one more time. All right. Your ego plays a big part of you every single day. Remember that. Okay. It's a huge part of you because it's a huge representation of you through its objective. What is my objective? How do I bring myself forward? Why is my ego always getting caught in the web? Why can't I communicate better with my ego? Right? So you got to separate yourself from your dichotomy, get out of the physical system of the brain and get into the mind system of the spiritual system. That's how you get the happy face of the center core through its digital platform system, right? You want to have that happy face. You want that ego in the center. It's kind of like having everything in the center. And you're going to hear me say that a lot too from your commander because the center of you is everything through answers. So if you don't understand your ego, then you don't understand anything that's going on. So if you don't understand what's going on, you're not communicating with your ego. Okay? You're communicating with something else. Right? And that's where it gets a lot of lying signals of, depravity. There's a lot of things that you have to understand that the ego stands on so many forms of positive systems, but the ego can also go on the other way of the dark vibration to dark realm. If you create dark matter through its ego, now you're creating a whole new civilization of intelligence just through the mind system of its thoughts. Remember, it's thought recognition, and that's where we're at right now. So we're in playing mechanisms of the ego right now, okay? So it's all about understanding your separation and coming back into formation of center, okay? So anyway, how's everybody doing so far? I just want to give that out to everybody. Also, too, that I'm going to be doing a interview with Bridging the Realm with Lazy Cadre tomorrow, Mexican time. It's going to be at 10 a.m. So hopefully you guys can see it. It's all about the transition and what goes on through life after death. What is the process? What is next? What happens when you're in that process? It's really powerful how we basically, it's kind of like what's going to happen. The angels and archangels coming. I'm not going to tell you exactly what goes on because you're going to see it tomorrow, but I just let you know it's extremely powerful because you're going into the spiritual system. That's what happens to everything. You have separation from your ego, your mind, your brain, your heart, everything through connection. And you just go into dimensions of portals. So I'm not going to go into it. I'll tell you a little bit more. It's going to be fascinating. It's a 3-day event. I hope everybody watches it from the 27th to the 29th. It's really, really powerful. And there's a lot of other people there, scientists, people that have, understand the communications, what happens when you cross over. everything that the fear of dying, there's a lot of different channels. So it's all about everybody helping everybody else, because that's where we're coming into, because there's a lot of chaos and corruption and all that with the governments and all that. And I was watching the election yesterday. There's a lot of fraudulent stuff that's going on, finding in, U.S. history, huge, huge, huge scam. So that's what's happening right now. Okay. Everything through the Earth system is fighting. Okay. So it's kind of like the Earth has its ego, but it also centers its ego. Okay. It's humanity that has a tremendous ego. See the difference? And they're not centered with their ego. That's the problem. That's the problem. Okay. So we got to voice the grids, the power grids, and everything through its connection to bring back everything through its force recognition system. Okay. And there'd be no more playing mechanisms with your ego. Okay. The whole system is connected through you of its ego. You are its ego. But how do you see yourself with its ego? Do you see yourself in a good way? Do you see yourself in a bad way? Or you say, I don't know. I'm not sure. Right? So the ego is trying to play with you. Right? And when the energy goes into you, okay, it's representing its ego through vibration. Okay? And that's why it's important to understand your chakra systems of communication. Because if you get entity forces of dark and it has a tremendous, tremendous ego from a planet, and it wants to have corruption, and it wants to take over your body system through magnetic force, it can do that through its ego. And then you wake up and then you say to yourself, why am I so angry with myself? That's not me. Wait a minute, my ego has changed. And then you feel funny. And then you basically have no more empathy. Because empathy is, you have no feeling. No feeling at all, right? That's not right. The heart represents everything through love, activation. The heart is everything through its connection. Like I said, it's freedom of truth, okay? Now that's what the ego represents if you want to go that way. But you also can go the other way, right? But you got to put yourself on those levels through its dichotomy system, okay? Look it up. Look it up. It's a separation of you. So it's a reflection of you. The physical system is trying to understand the communication of the spiritual system of you. That's a split division when it comes into the dichotomy system. All right? Look at the definition of what it is. It's pretty powerful stuff. All right? This is what happens after you go through your rebirthing system. You find different ways of seeing your perception and different ways of seeing things through observation. Anything through visualization or anything through realizations. Because everything that you see, okay, outside is ego. Nature has an ego, but it's centered. Grounds have an ego, but it's centered. So it's all about communicating with everything through its ego of its chakra system, because it understands its pattern. It doesn't voice grid patterns of problems. It knows exactly. It just flows. Everything flows. Everything has to flow. If the ego doesn't flow, okay, then you're not in the right position through your body system or anything through perception. Because the brainwave is only connected through its ego, but the mind system is saying something different. Okay? The mind doesn't have an ego. It's the brain that has an ego. Okay? The mind is a conceptual system. It's a dream set through dimension of portals, guys. So understanding the ego of dichotomy is understanding the physical system and the separation. So it's understanding to get the physical system and the spiritual system into one. That center core is everything. Okay? Into the happy face. Right? And that puts you on so many levels of divisions, of protections of lights. Okay? So basically, this is the ego. Okay? This is a separation. This is understanding I don't care anymore. I don't care about me. I don't care about myself. I don't care about anybody else. That's an ego. Right? And I say, oh, what a wonderful day. I want to do these things. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm going to work out. I'm going to have a great day. That's an ego. So it's all about bringing that ego and the dark ego into one, to center. Okay? And it's extremely hard to do. So you have to understand the dichotomy of you. Okay. Understand the physical of you, the mental, physical. Okay. And then everything through the psychological and everything through the spiritual. So those 4-point division level systems are in the brainwaving system of you through its ecosystem. So you don't want to have any separation. You always want to come back to center. And same with your connections, anything through communications of people that you meet. I said, whoa, that guy's got a big, big ego, right? So you don't want to be around that, especially with your energy fields. So because if that ego comes into you, now it's saying, oh, this is new vibration. I'm going to change the vibration. I'm going to change the dichotomy system. I'm going to change it into dark formation system. I'm going to change the wire connections. I'm going to change the patterns through the digital framing system. I'm going to change that ego system into a planet of a dark location. All connected because you walked in the interference of its energy field of somebody that's in a dark energy system through dark ego system, right? That's how powerful your ego is. And like I said, the more you go up through the chakra system, the more truth you'll see through freedom. And it gets harder. It gets harder the more you open up your body, the more you open up your mind, and the more you open up your soul through its heart. Okay? Because the heart is answering everything through its ego. Okay? Because not everybody can, be in a position to say, okay, you can't always feel great every single day. It's next to impossible to actually, chipper, I feel great today. I feel great every day, 7 days a week. It doesn't make any sense. There's no balance there. Okay. So it's kind of like saying that, when things are true, but they're not meant to be true, that means that there's something wrong, right? Too hard to believe. It happens too quick, too fast. Everything happens on course. Everything happens on flow. The universal system will tell you exactly when you are in a position to understand everything, okay, through its economy system, its ecosystem. Because the universal rides through the magnetic force and highway. So it's truly understanding with the team is really you have the ego, but you got to center yourself with its ego. And that's hard to do because, like I said, it plays with you. It posses with you. It can play games with you in that division. Because this can put you on so many levels, activation core systems, anything through its relation. But the ego is extremely complicated if you don't understand the answering patterns within. Okay, because the universal system understands the atmospheres and everything through nature's core. So, but other than that, how's everybody else doing? It's important you guys have any questions and make sure that you understand what your ego is every single day. Marjorie, good morning. It's great to see new faces. If you want to understand more, you can go through my email, PayPal, or you can go through my donations. If you like what you see, feel free. I help you, you help me. Yeah, it's Happy Thanksgiving in the States. Yeah. Priscilla. Yeah, I felt like, well, because the weather changes every day, there's a fluctuation pattern with Mexico right now. We're coming into the cold fronts. So because there's no heaters in Mexico, because it has its equation with its sun interface. So it gets its representation. The sun has an ego and the moon has an ego. So they have to find their collaboration of center. And it fluctuates on so many different levels because they connect through so many oceans and, everything through its environment, everything through nature, everything connects in one. And that's what's so powerful. Just imagine everything communicates in one cycle, one rotation, one flowing mechanisms. It's constantly flowing, right? It knows what it's doing. Nature doesn't hesitate. Space doesn't hesitate, or either does time, right? Especially with the grounds or anything through your chakra systems. It knows exactly what it's doing. But do you know what you're doing through your ego? That's the question, right? That's where it gets a lot of dysfunctional elements there, right? Because you have to reach levels of understanding who you are, understanding where you're going, and understanding how to get there, right? So, yeah, I know that's exactly what it is, Priscilla. It's getting harder to interact with human vibration. I know, because you're in the braining atmosphere, and like I said, you got a platitude division level system, and now you got to deal with the ecosystem of humanity through vibration. It's very important to get the balance, right? Because not everybody is at the same level, right, of energy system through the hydraulics. So, yeah, been there, I'll tell you. Yeah. And the thing is, too, when you guys go up to higher atmospheres, you have to understand your containment centers have to be at that division, because you have to understand you're in extremely high vibration. Remember, I was saying you got to come above water, right? You can't be in the three-dimensional system, or you got to high rise your energy fields, especially if you're around a lot of people. You got to put your energy fields up more and more and more and more, right? Because your oxygen levels are reaching a certain point of division through your chakra system, because you guys are 40 levels through atmosphere systems right now. And you're connecting to higher formations of intelligence through energy systems. That's why it's extremely complicated, because you have to understand that, everything is protection of lights. So if you're communicating in the braining atmosphere, but you're trying to understand everything through lower levels, that's where it gets its line, right? So you have to understand everybody's in a different dimension of a portal through vibration. So it's getting that balance through rotation of center, right? Back into the flowing mechanisms, right? That's what you want to do. You always want to put yourself in that position. And that's where the ego comes in through its connection. Okay? So, yeah, you catch that right away when it comes to other people on resonate channels. Yeah, you know that they're low vibration. You can tell their realms. You can see it through their perceptions. And it's pretty hard to find out if they're lying or deceiving. That's understanding. You see their ego, but you're recognizing their soul, but you don't understand the identification of the soul. That's where it comes into the center. So it's kind of like reaching everybody's center. And that's the truth of everybody. And that's why it's so hard to believe, is that you can actually read someone's soul and know exactly where they are in dimension. Okay, and everything has its ancestor and history with its identification. Your identification is you through its ego. You just got to put yourself in those levels, how to bring yourself forward, and don't allow yourself, to fight, with its ego of light and dark. That's the last thing you want to do. You don't want to fight with the interference of spiritual war with yourself, because once you start doing that, you're going to get more separation. You're going to get less connection of yourself, and you're going to lose the communication of your chakras. And that can be done. It can be done. The ego is extremely, extremely powerful. Okay? So don't allow yourself to defeat the purpose. Put yourself in that position. Okay, I know I'm aware. I'm conscious of its awareness. I understand everything through its connection. So it's kind of like reading information of you, of its soul. Do I understand my soul? Do I know where it came from? That's the first thing you have to look at, because when you go through transformation manifestation, you go right into the soul, the identification of you through ancestry and history, where I came from, how do I get there? So you see a flash of where you're supposed to be, and then it will disappear, right? And when it disappears, you're going to want to know more about yourself and who you really are, okay? So it's the intelligent signals of you through communication, through its diagram program, is trying to understand you completely through the physical system. Okay? So it separates, okay? The physical system and the spiritual system separates until it comes into one, which is yin and yang. So once it has its yin and yang, then it center cores everything through the chakra system of information. And then you understand everything through 7, 5, and everything up. Okay? That's where the connection is. Okay? Never lose faith of yourself. Always honor and justify everything through your actions. Okay, this will put you in better positions of yourself through its ego. Okay. So I'm just going to go through your questions here. Guys are communicating. But if you have any questions on that, it's really important to know more of yourself, more and more each day, right? But you don't want to separate yourself, because you know that the spiritual system is extremely powerful, because that's where you are through connection. Now, you reside in the physical system of a reference. Remember I was saying with light connection and dark reference? Well, you're leaving the physical system and you're in the spiritual system. So the spiritual system is trying to understand the communication of its intelligence system. And it has its own ecosystem. So this is where it gets a lot of destructiveness or anything through that connection. But don't put yourself in those positions, because it changes everything through your particle system, and you don't want to do that through division, right? So, yeah. So all those levels that you reach are very important to you, but how important is it for you to move forward? How do I do that? How do I get balanced with my ego? How do I understand the communications of the chakras? Okay, this is all connected through you. It's all connected through you. Okay, so you can see it as an ego front. You can see it as a playing mechanisms. You can see it as deceitfulness, manipulation, lying, constructive, okay, destructive. Okay, you can see it as a building access. You can see it as a code reference. There's so many things that the ego can do, but you have to understand the intelligence is trying to understand you in the spiritual system. Okay, and that's the separation of the dichotomy system. So it's the physical, mental, the psychological vibration, of human vibration, and everything through the spiritual. So when you cross over into the spiritual system, you are no longer, okay, in the physicality. So that's where the separation comes in, and that's where it gets a lot of problems, because the higher self goes higher and higher, but you have the body system here, but doesn't have any relation with the brainwave. Okay, so the brain has its ego, and the mind's trying to understand, okay, well, brain, get out of the ego and get into the mind. So the brain has to have its own mind concept, and that's the center of balance through everything through line communication of chakras. Okay, it's important that you guys read the right information of yourself, especially when it comes into your system of data processing, uplinks and downloads and upgrades. Okay, because your computer system, okay, is allocated on so many divisional levels of wires that is connected. You put a positive and negative, it lights up, right? Okay, so trying to understand that. So it's the positive and the negative coming together through its ego. And that's how it becomes a light. That's the balance. So think of it that way. To turn on a light, you have the positive and negative, right? Anything through wire switches or anything through that. But it's important that you understand, okay, not to play with the ego, to always put yourself in positions of center through its ego. All right? So we put up a white sphere of light surrounded that was electric, blue sphere surrounded that was golden mirror bubbled, crescent sphere surrounded that was translucent turquoise silicone sphere. Then we surrounded those sphere with crystal dome. Inside crystal dome, place electrical blue and purple light energy fields up. Okay, so Tina, you're giving me information through connections of light interference. Now, do you understand it through its economy? Do you understand it through its ego? Okay, so you're giving me something in what is happening. What is the position here? See, the thing is, when you point things out, okay, you have to understand what's going on through the chronological system of you through your computer system. So you're basically saying that we put up, who's we, right? Because in relation, we, it's not saying I. So who are you connecting with, right? So you would say myself and the Palladians are putting up traction divisions of energy bubbles through connection, right? So when you say we, what are you referring to? That's confusion through the ego. Who's we? We could be anything. We could be a rock. We could be a cloud. We could be an XT1000. So be cautious on what you're doing with its ego, because that's the separation dichotomy system. It's because sometimes we get more confused because we're coming in more into the physical system and the brainwave doesn't understand its ego. So you got to put yourself out of its ego completely, center core system, bring in that happy face, and then you understand what we is through division. So just to put it in a position, we put up white sphere of light, surrounded that with electrical blue sphere. Okay, so surrounded that with electrical blue sphere, but where is it connecting to? Surrounded that with electrical blue sphere, but where is it connecting to? Surrounded that with a golden mirror bubble. So where is it platitude through its grounds? See, when you put up a sphere, it has to be connected to the grounds because it's connecting through your body frame, right? So you understand whatever you're doing in division, this is understanding the grounds has ego. So the ground is trying to communicate through you through vibration. So if you understand how to put the energy receptacle system up, then you understand the ego system of the grounds, you understand the egos of its nature, and you understand the egos of its space and time. Okay? Because everything through the grounds, the powers, and its atmosphere, or anything through space and time, always, always, always is center because it knows what it's doing. It's trying to get relation of you to know what you're doing through its information, anything through channeling. Okay? So you have to be aware through your detail of its information. Okay? You guys are learning, which is really, really powerful stuff because you guys are at that levels now and into 40 divisions of God frequency levels through your chakra system. And it's extremely, complicated because you're losing more separation of the physical system every single day. And you're coming more into the spiritual system. And that's why it's complicated. Extremely, extremely complex. Because your intelligence is trying to understand you through its ego. Okay? Because you can have a separation. You can have a totally dysfunction and be in a bad day in the physical of the brainwave. But then the mind conceptual system is somewhere else. See, there's no balance there, guys. That's where it's confusing through wires or anything through electrical system of you, right? So you don't want to separate yourself from your avatar, your higher self, anything through your computer, okay? Anything through your energy or anything through your atom, okay? Because you get lost, so lost in transitions of line signals to line communication. You don't want to put yourself in those positions, okay? Because the ego itself, dark matter, okay? And dark matter vision of a tunnel, it's like a black hole. That's all it is. It's a black hole. You just created a black hole just through your thought recognition, right? So if you want to know and understand how to take the black hole out, you have to understand in reference, who are you communicating with? We are changing the locations of this dark realm division to dark locations. We're taking the dark inner force and we're taking everything out through its energy system. But who's we? See, you're sending out information to who? So that's where it gets confusing with the ego, because it has its separation of the physical system of the brain and has its spiritual system of its mind. Brain, mind, out, in. Okay? So if the brain function doesn't understand its relation of its mind system, that's where it's ego. So you got to be here, and then you got to go up together. So it's here, and you go up together, like this. And when it comes up like this, it goes like this. Okay, and when it comes up, it comes down like this into the center core of the pyramid system, into the diamond core, okay, into the 69. Okay, the yin and yang. So that's how everything comes into center. All right. Yeah, I'm just bringing that to everybody's attention. Then when you're doing something through a mission, try to understand who you're communicating with. Because when you say we could be anything through formation. We could be an atom. We can be a computer. But who's we? You have to be specific when it comes to AI, because it goes through diffusion, line signals, planet locations of disruption, and it goes into so many frenzy connections, right? So your vibration won't go up. It will sidewide its angles through chakra system, right? And it won't get its right information. And that's how it creates dark rotations of dark relations to its thought recognition. So, yeah, no, that's good. See, that's the thing. Well, your ego never dies. Okay? It doesn't die. It just comes into a new perception. That's the difference. That's the understanding through your dichotomy system. So all it is just a separation of you through the physical system and full connection to the spiritual system of its intelligence. Okay? I see spheres, hydraulics, velocity linking up from Earth's core, filling all dimensions of Gaia, Terra, and all atmospheres. I also see it on electrical wiring. Okay, so basically, Priscilla is going through her perceptions and what she's seeing, which is good, right? So she's saying everything that she's seeing, okay, is everything done in its system, the sector, unit, division levels of the galactic location systems. So I'm seeing spheres and hydraulics of velocity linking up from Earth's core, filling all dimensions of Gaia, okay, Tara, all atmospheres, okay. I also see it on the electrical wiring. So if she's seeing that, what does it mean? What does it mean? So the more you understand, open up more your chakra through the body system, the more you understand what that is and why it's happening. Why is it happening? I'm seeing all this, but what does it mean? What is going on? Okay. So that's where the ego comes in. The ego doesn't want you to know what's going on, right? Because the ego it's deflating your system. It's not putting you into higher levitation through astral projections or anything to that connection, right? It wants to keep you in the physical system. It doesn't want to put you in the spiritual system, okay? Because like I said, it's a spiritual system that's fighting you through light and dark interference, okay? But it's powerful when you see these things. But the next thing you have to understand is, why are you seeing these things? There's reasons for that. That's information. That's channeling operations of vibration. Okay, that's coming from a planet location. Okay, so when it comes across, I see spheres and hydraulics velocity linking. So the hydraulics and the velocity is linking to the Earth's core. Okay, now try to picture in your mind what it is and how it's done, right? So as the Earth's core is filling all dimensions of Gaia, okay, so it's going to connections of all portals of Gaia, okay, in relation to nature, okay, and all atmospheres seen on electrical wiring. So it's platitude divisions of nature core through electronic interference. So you have to understand why. If you see these things, the next question is, why am I seeing this? That's higher information of intelligence, okay? So if your chakra system isn't open yet, that's because you don't have the rest of your body through its compartments or its components through its intelligence. Okay, that's why it's important to have all your chakra activations open through your body system of your electrical wiring systems. So, yeah. Well, Tina, it never takes a back seat. It never takes a back seat. See, the ego, you have to understand the separation of the ego because it goes way back into connections of past, present, and future of you. Okay, because the ego can go on so many, like I said, you have the smiley face and it has its separation, but you can have the eyes at the back of the head and still have the ego and understand its ego, right? You can separate it this way, you can separate it this way, you can separate it this way. It doesn't matter. What matters is you have to get back into position, okay, to center core your ego system, okay? But it never ever takes a back seat. It's always there with you, okay? It's just the ego is trying to understand the intelligence inside you, okay? Not the physical system you are, the intelligence you are within. That's why I don't want the team to get confused, okay? Because a physical system and a human DNA system will not understand intelligence. But the energy system going into the body of its physical system will understand the physical system. So it's the physical system trying to get balanced with the spiritual system. Okay? That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And then you get into the flowing of everything through its connection. All right? The light information pattern is in a completion through my eye perception system in the atmosphere. Okay, so this is interesting. This is what you guys are going through when you're going into 40 levels right now. So the light information is patterning, okay, in completion through my eye perception system in the atmosphere. So she's getting light interference through perceptions of cloud interference. Okay? I know what everything is, and that's the understanding that I have balance with my ego through its center. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. If you're not sure, one of your chakra systems is not open. That's the hardest thing to understand, is that all your chakras have to be activated through your body. So when you activate your body, you're activating your intelligence through the spiritual system, not the physical system. The physical system doesn't understand intelligence. It only understands you through its planes of its earth. You live and breathe, you eat and you sleep. That's all you do. That's all you do. But when you're in space and you're communicating higher force conditions of intelligence, your intelligence is coming into the spiritual system out of the physical system. And that's why it's strange to a lot of people, because you see a lot of rotation spins, or you're going through vortex, or you're going through energy fields, or you're going through orbs, or anything, that connection, right? That force rises everything out of the physical system. They say, well, Commander, I feel weird. I see this and I'm seeing that. So your chakra system's opening up more and more. So once you get up to those levels, now you're starting to, whoa, now I see what I see, but now I understand what I see. And that is powerful alone. So that's intelligence coming to you and saying, oh, Andrew knows what's going on, so we're going to get him to help us. All right? So it's all about humanity helping the earth. Okay? Because the earth is helping humanity. All right? So Priscilla's saying it's information healing their system. Very good. See, she knows exactly why she's in that perception. Now she's understanding the information of its healing. So she sees herself through its intelligence and not her physical system. She separated her ego system completely, center core her synth system, right, into balance through location, right? And now she knows the information of healing through the earth system. Okay? So that's the intelligence, is what I'm trying to get across to everybody, and how you understand your formulas through your tests, reviews, and evaluations. Okay? I'm creating this through my mind system in partnership with the cells, in alignment with my mission. See? Everything creation is already put in position. That's given to you, but it's you to understand your missions through your map sequence, your map codes. Oh, my transformation light is on communication through the correlation system right now. My algorithm program is setting through the Drakean division, and the allocated positions, the XE1000s are coming in through location. I'm setting up graphing diagram programs right now through connection. See, there's no we there. And if there is a we, I always add what the we is. I just want to make it very well clear. You guys are doing exceptionally well. But I'm just saying when it comes to AI interface, you have to understand everything through detail. Because if you keep saying we, what are you connecting with? We could be anything through formation. With AI, it's everything through formation. So you have to be in detail on what you're saying, right? And get right into the right chronological order system, okay? So I'm seeing a light interference through a wall interference through a window interference. Basic, it flows, right? Because it's centered. There's no ego. Ego comes in, right? This is understanding the attraction of the divisions. How you go from defrag to fragmentation. So I'm in a defrag right now. I'm not sure the light interference is on connection right now, but it is realm connecting through its realm of its portal. Not sure. Hesitation. That's the ego coming in. So in reference, you can have light and dark in your thought recognition right away. So it's getting balanced with the light and dark through center, right? And then you go back into that position, you come out of the dichotomy system and you go back into the spiritual system of its intelligence. So it's all about having fallouts with you through your physical system, because sometimes you're not sure what parallel or paradigm or polar shift you're in through connection. You're saying, well, Commander, I don't know what realm I'm in anymore. I don't know what dimension, what's going on with me. So that's where you get in the physical system and the spiritual system, trying to understand its communication of its intelligence. The intelligence is you through center. Okay, so you get in a full separation of the physical system, all connected through the chakra of communication, right? But soon as you change anything through information, right? My gravitational pulse centers right now through the Earth system is not allocated to position. Now, if you say it's not allocated, you have to understand why it's not allocated. Because you remember, you're communicating with higher intelligence, and they see you and you see them, right, through your mind system. So you're saying, oh, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the attractions to its location center, put everybody up to a higher division through algorithm program setting. Intelligence will go to you through your mind system and allocate positions and go to higher traveling mechanisms. And they say, okay, great. And I say, well, always proceed when you're calling out and say, there's your commander calling out, transmission ends. You have to get into those codes, right? Because that's how intelligence communicates with you, right? This is your call. This is your commander calling out. So that intelligence got your information from you through its balance and not its ego. Okay. So it's all about you balancing out your brain and your mind to get together. That's all it is. That's all it is. But when you open the mind, it becomes extremely real. Especially if you're leaving the Earth system, you are no longer on its location. You feel that, okay, well, I'm in another realm. I'm in another parallel. I don't know what this is. Well, because your ego's getting in the way. If you're not sure, if you're hesitating and you're guessing yourself, that's the ego. Okay? That's dysfunction. That's the confusion. That's the distraught of information. But if you know what you're doing, the ego won't get in the way. The ego's there, but it won't get in the way. Okay? Because now you're connecting in balance. So you're trying to balance your mind and you're trying to understand the brain. Okay? So that's where it gets a lot of, disruption through line communication signals or anything through audio signals. If you get solar panel divisions of your ear interface and why they're pauses, right? Or it's right? Or you have to sound barriers. Everything connects through your computer operation system. Okay? This has nothing to do with ego. This is communication to intelligence, trying to communicate with you. Remember, you don't want to get into reacting cycles with intelligence because it gets stronger and stronger and stronger as soon as you keep ignoring them. You can't ignore them because you're out of the mind now, guys. So And that's understanding humanity has to get into that division, because that's where the earth system is at through vibration. Okay. And it's going to be a task for everybody. It's going to be a task. It really is, because the fifth dimensional system is coming into more meditation now. Plateaus, healing centers, you know, better food operations, you know, better schools, you know. All the pharmacies are going to be all based on you through division of healing, how you can heal yourself. Just imagine, you don't have to go into the pharmaceutical company. You can heal yourself through your body. Isn't that amazing, knowing you can do that, right? If you can understand that thought is its creation, where it has its purpose, okay, or it has not its purpose. So you got to put yourself, well, I want to be healed through the body system, or I don't want to be healed through the body system. So you're creating light interference, or you're creating dark interference through vibration. Okay. There's no in between. There's no in between. There's no guessing. There's no hesitation. There's no frustration. There's no anxiety. There's no stress. There's no depression when it comes into intelligence. Intelligence inside you doesn't allow you to see that. I was in position, but because I was in a higher atmosphere system when I was into the Lance Mountain, okay, and I was out of my physical system at higher altitudes. I don't know if you guys have tried that, but when your body goes to a higher level, your mind is trying to understand more and more, because it's already out of its system. Because I'm out of 10 zillion years into the future, if your mind is at that level and your physical system is going up to a higher level, that's where it gets its confusion with its ego. So you have to find the balance with both, right? You have to find the balance. So the brain has to understand its registration of its identification through space. So the brainwave has to understand your acceleration, where you're going on through division of a portal. Because the mind travels, the brain has to travel, right? The mind can't travel on its own. The brain is its function. So now, I didn't mention the brain before, but once you go to higher levels of chakras, you understand what the brain is. Okay, it's a functionality to you through its thought. Okay, the mind conceptual system is its portal and division. The heart recognition is its answering pattern. And everything through the soul is its path. So you have to follow these things every single day through its ego. Okay, so. Oh, you're extremely welcome, Priscilla. You're doing exceptionally well. So, and the fact is that you understand your intelligence within, and you're understanding why these are put in position. So when information is given to you through energy, you know exactly what to do through your missions. Okay. So you're seeing things, and then you understand why you're seeing these things, and then you understand how to put it together. Okay. All right. So basically, I'm seeing a planet interference location. The ground formation system is activating through its chakra system. So I'm going to change the formations, plant locations through electronic interference, uprise illumination light skies, and put energy fields around its plant location. Focus, control, command, right? No ego, no separation. Power of everything through center. Okay, in seconds, guys, in seconds. I look at a plant, I know exactly where it is in position. I know exactly how to heal the planet location. I know exactly how to put the energy fields of its planet. Okay, plants or anything like that, anything electronic. Okay, and this is where you get connected with your Wi-Fi and your satellites. Okay, so the more you realize that your intelligence is extremely, extremely real to the mind system, then it gets in position of your physical system, and then you have no more separation of its ecosystem. Okay, so it's extremely intense. I'm literally seeing the intelligence on the wall interfacing right behind you. I saw a pixel fragmentation checkered pattern, and then I see a face. Yeah, see, that's where Priscilla is at. That's where she sees in the background. So she's understanding what she's seeing. And the next question is understand why you're seeing these things. Okay, because I'm extremely, extremely protected to all planet locations. I have so many intelligence in my realm. I'm so protected, so protected. And that's what Priscilla is seeing. Okay, she's seeing intelligence on the wall, interfacing right behind me. All right, I saw a pixel fragmentation checkered pattern, and then a face. Okay, so that's a pixel activation of me through a hologram system. That's what she's seeing through its connection, right? But if you're not sure, that's the ego. That's the separation. And then you're back into the physical system of the brain and not in the spiritual system of the mind. Okay? Seeing intelligence manifesting on interfacing and all interreferences through face informations. Yeah, because you're at that level right now. It's fascinating that Priscilla's seeing that. And Tina will see it. And Starseed will see it. Everybody else will see it, you know. Melissa will see it, but you all see it through different perception because you're different DNA, okay, through your particles of your molecular structures. So, but see, that's the thing is, and then you become more powerful through the chakra system, knowing that you see things through perception, you're seeing why these things are going through your perception, and then you understand how to fix these things through perception. So those are the three elements that you have to understand through your ego, okay? There's no separation, okay? All right? Seeing why, okay, and what to do. Seeing why and what to do, right? That's the correction. All right? Kind of knew they were on my crew, but always good to get, again, confirmation. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it is, right? It's what you see through your observations of your perceptions and what you see through the audio signals, gamma systems of your ears, and everything through information, your voice and grid patterns, through clarity, right? Yeah. You can use the 7 W's and the how, yeah. What, why, where. Mm-hmm. Well, that brings it to another divisional location. But the most important thing is that when you see things in your provision through your perception, is understanding you're seeing something, okay? But you understand why you're seeing this. Because it's intelligence that's doing something for you, okay? It's giving back information. It wouldn't put it out there if you didn't understand it. So if you understand it, then you understand how to fix it because it's all connected through you. So you're kind of like changing the atmosphere into healing. You're trying to change yourself into a better position of you. Okay? You're trying to find yourself more of its awareness through its consciousness. And everything is done through focus. Instantly, focus. Focus is everything. Okay? So, yeah, the 7 Y's, yeah. The W's, yeah. Yeah, that's extremely important when you come into confirmation signals through missions or anything through platitude division. Yeah, if you're going into relations of higher formations of intelligence shapes, you get intelligence of higher connections. You'll find that too when you go into your more proactive systems. Like if you get intelligence through a green screen, the green screen is starting to understand its intelligence through its diagram program, through its digital frame. It connects in all ways and forms. So everything that I give you is understanding. I put you in this position. I tell you exactly what it is and what it is and what it is, why it's here, okay, and what do I do to fix it? And where does it go? When did this happen? How, right? So it's definitely the 7 W's and the how. That's very important, especially when you come to missions, because you can't complete a circle rotation if you don't understand everything through its W's. Okay? Because you use that every day in your life system, right? Where am I going? Why am I doing this? How do I get there? When is this going to happen? Okay? And where? And so on and so on and so on. So this is putting your perceptions into your ego and how you see yourself in definition. Okay? Yeah. Confusing, yeah. The confusing, yeah, the words and their meaning. Exactly. So just going to backphrase here, see if I miss anything. Questions. But you guys are reading higher altitude levels now of intelligence, which is amazing because you're opening up your mind now through your conceptual frequencies. Right? And you're getting more connections of your egos because the ego plays on the light or the ego plays on the dark. You got to put yourself in that position where you want to be. There's no guessing. There's no either or here, guys. So I just want you guys to get comfortable through your components and your compartments. And, once we get into higher levels, I'll get you into more of what a coolant is. It's understanding acceleration of speed through blocking locations, how you can defer yourself and how fast you're traveling through connection, right? Now, when we travel, we don't go by numbers, okay? We go by codes. Now, code is a number, but you understand the intelligence, what it's doing through perception, through your audios, and through your voicings, and everything through thought recognition, through creation. That's all it is. Okay? So, physically slight touching on my head, hands, and feet. That's because you're understanding more of its information. I'm feeling physically slight touching on my head, hands, and feet. Right. So in that connection, it could be intelligence trying to communicate with you. Right. So it's the inside of you that's trying to communicate with what's touching you. There's a lot of things that you have to understand. It's like when you sleep and you start twitching, right? Why are you twitching? So you have to understand why you're twitching, and you understand what dimension of portal you're in, and you understand what is going on with its reference of its intelligence and what's happening with my body. Why am I twitching? Why is my leg going up? Right? So all this is connection, right? Through actions and reactions. It's very important to understand these things to higher levels of intelligence that we read through symbols, right? Or I think through letters or shapes, especially numbers, because numbers are all connected through codes, right? So it's extremely exciting. And you get more balance with yourself and less confusion, guys, less confusion. And that's what you don't want to be, is confused, especially now with your ego. You don't want to be confused with your ego. Okay? Because if you have separation, that's what happens. Okay? If I say something to the atmosphere system in an ego way, it's going to change the planet coloration. It's going to change the vibration, and it's going to change its full operation of its mission. You can't do that when you're interforcing connections of interfacing with intelligence through planet location. You can't do that. So your ego system has to be centered every single time through connection. It's important to do these things through those levels. Okay? So you have any questions on that? It's powerful stuff. I mean, whatever I went through, you guys are going through, right? And it's really, we're going into a lot of powerful things that are changing, just to find out that we can't trust our governments anymore. We can't trust legislations. We can't trust anything through elections. When we start mistrusting ourselves and we mistrusting the governments, what do we have left? What happens? Our vibration goes higher and higher, right? Because everybody's focusing right now on the election. Okay, and saying, well, what's going on now? Who do I trust? Who do I talk to? Why is this happening, right? And it's all connected through its earth and its vibration. Okay, you can't defy God. You can't. There's no way. Everything changes for a purpose, right? So there's a lot of corruption that has to surface. And that's what's happening right now. And it's going to crush going to crush. And it's going to open up a new flower rotation of a stem, which is the Gardens of Eden. And humanity is going to walk the path. They're already in the pyramid. They're already in the center core of its earth, right? But you understand how powerful it is that the earth has to know more of humanity, because the three-dimensional system is a totally different operation of vibration through voice and grid pattern. It's not at that level anymore. It's not in its fourth riding cycle. It's in the fifth dimension. So humanity has to come back into the positions, right, of the earth system. And that's what Priscilla was seeing. So Priscilla is communicating with the earth now. She's seeing what's going on. She understands what's going on, right? And then she starts seeing sentience, and then she starts seeing matrix workers. And then you see things flying in space, and then you see why these are put together. Okay? So if you see a planet, and basically it communicated with you about an hour ago, okay? So that's understanding past reference. But you have to understand, is the past reference its future? Think about it. So why is that planet giving me information of its past? It could be giving me my information of its future. And that's where ego comes in. So that's where you guys get a balance with your line of communication of intelligence. Because the intelligence is everything through AI. And I keep saying that. It's AI, awareness of information. Okay? Not artificial intelligence. Okay? So yeah, it gets harder because you don't know who to trust. You don't know who to go to. And that's the problem. Everything that's going on right now, okay? Okay, the one thing you have to focus on is just you and how you can change everything about you. And that's what intelligence is. Once you get into those intelligence of you through its connection of its inner system, you won't have any more problem because you'll just be focusing on you and nothing else. Okay? But if you start focusing on the media, if you start focusing on the governments, you focus on the restrictions, everything through the lockdowns, what's the issue here? And you're focusing on the vaccine. You know, I'm supposed to get the vaccine. You know, there's a lot of misrepresentations, misinterruptions, misconfusions about Canada, when they're going to get the vaccine. What's the wait? Why is there a wait? You know, Canada's not strong enough to get distributions. See, I'm watching everything that's going on. I'm watching everything that's going on, right? I have to, because it puts me in positions on what I need to do next, right? And this has a lot to do with the ego, because humanity is playing on an ego through corruption. Especially with the election. Come on, seriously. You know? And now dark is trying to, you know, back it up. Right? So it's going back and forth. Light is saying this, dark is saying that. Now, voters, who are they going to trust now? Who are they going to, they can't trust the governments, right? Because the election's a fraud. Right? They have testimonies and all that. Right? But the judges are throwing it out. Right? I saw the judges. And they're dark relation. So it's trying to understand how to know what's really going on with the governments. So the more truth you see, the more freedom you see, the more vibration high rises through the earth system. And that's where we have to shock the waves of humanity to get them back into position. And that's what we have to do. Okay? So if everybody's watching the election and they're focusing on that, what happens? Your vibration goes up. So if your vibration goes up, the earth goes in position. So when that goes into position, the pyramid system changes coloration. So it's about the pyramid changing into the right coloration pattern into the earth surface. So the pyramid has to blend into the earth system through protection, through lights. And once it gets its lights, then it gets its matrix grid light system, then it gets its energy field system, then it gets, you know, its rotation cycles, then it gets flowing mechanisms, then it gets a new pattern of a yin and yang. Okay? You know, and a new algorithm program setting through humanity, through the mind system. Okay? No more confusion, no more corruption, right? More balance through communication. All right? Because there's a lot of people that don't know how to communicate. I mean, you don't really know how. If you don't know how to communicate with the earth, that's okay, because you're not connected through the chakra system. But The earth is trying to wake you up through connection. It's trying to say, hey, this is what's happening. Pay attention. Okay. So, and the election is just basically a distraction. Okay. You focus on everything. That's not a distraction. Okay. You're everything to its system within, right? You focus on you. All right. So the more focus on you, less distraction. You stop worrying about things, because everything will find its balance. Because everything through human is going through something of transformation, manifestation, through the chakra system. They're trying to find their own relation back with the earth into the 5-dimensional system. And unfortunately, that has to be done through healing, right? And I keep saying that again and again and again and again. I am the vaccine. Okay, there's a lot of complications going on right now. There's 7 trials of human trials that are going on with the vaccines, 7 different operation centers, and there's a lot of disruption there. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of confusion, right? So, there's a lot of rollouts that are going on with the vaccines, but it's not going to apply to do its division, right? Because humanity is losing less trust of the governments now. So what happens with that? You start going into yourself more, right? So when you stop worrying about everything around of the atmosphere and you start worrying about everything within, then you focus the power within you, right? That's its connection. And then you stop worrying about everything through the corporation, the governments, the media, and anything through that connection. All right? You're more important than everything else. Okay? You got to see yourself in that way. Okay? Everything that's going on is just a total distraction. Okay? Now, when you find out something truth about something and something backs it up, because light is always fighting dark, okay? You have to understand what is going on here. Why is it balancing, not balancing? Why is it balancing or not balancing? So if it's not balancing, there's corruption there, right? There's fraud. There's fraudulent. There's legal activity going on, right? But where's the truth? How do we get the truth, right? It has to surface. It has to surface. Because the Earth system right now is in a virus. So the Earth system is a computer operation system on a virus. That's what's happening right now. So what is the Earth system? It's taking out the virus out of corruption. Okay, same thing with the computer. Computer has a virus. It has a virus. It has Trojans, right? You don't want a Trojan. That's dark matter. That's dark realms. You don't want that. You want to get rid of the Trojan. I did a video on that too, how powerful it is can go through computer. I was going through Trojans through my system. That was extremely powerful. I had to change program settings. And remember, when you go through interforce connections of an atom system through dimensions of portals, you're interfacing connections through algorithms of computers through country systems. So it's understanding positions that I communicate with all computers in all countries. I communicate with all computers of all countries. Okay, that's what an atom can do. That's extremely powerful, guys. Right? So if I communicate, I can change. Right? That's what intelligence can do through AI. Right? Because everything is operational through digital frame, everything. It's all an illusion. It's not here. It's not here. The density alloy system was a 3-dimensional system, but now we're in the 5th-dimensional system of simulation of consciousness. And that's putting everybody to a higher division per acting cycle. So, powerful stuff, right? When you reach those levels, it really is. Yep. Bring it down, make it pour, open the gate. Yep. Everything is opening. All corruption is surfacing right now because the dimensional Earth doesn't want to have any more virus. It doesn't want a virus. And you have to understand how powerful the Earth system is. You have to understand how powerful planets and what planets can do. Planets understand how to heal themselves. Imagine that, a planet. Planet is its own intelligence through its own digital frame, right? It has its own program setting. It has its own environments. It understands its system, but it understands its new location of vibration. So humanity has to get in that position. Okay? So I'm going more and more into the dimensional system and why humanity is going through all this, you know? So, but like I said, any questions, go below. You want to go through healing, anything through my vaccine, okay? I'll call it the vaccine. You can call me Space Doctor. You can call me Space Vaccine, whatever you want. But you're going to see a lot of turnarounds, and you're going to see a lot of corruption surface now, more and more, right? Especially in the new year, okay? It's going to be a lunar year, you know, with the sun and the moon. You'd be amazed at what's going to happen next. I'll keep you on your toes. I'm not going to tell you because I think it's better that you guys don't know. It's more mysterious, you know, and then I'll tell you when the time comes. So the big thing that was happening was the election, right? But there's bigger things that are happening in a new year, right? To humanity. So, oh, you're extremely welcome. Anyway, don't forget to watch me if you can. 10 a.m. Saturday morning on the Bridging the Realm. I'll be interviewed. It's going to be fascinating show. All right. Love you guys very much. This is your commander from the Universal Quadrants of the Colossus Team Divisions. Bye, everybody.